Hello and welcome to Tiny Desk Knitting with Emma. This is maybe the first time I've ever recorded at nighttime in this space. Definitely in this space. I've recorded like as it's gotten dark, but I was having dinner with Monica tonight. My knitting friend, if you are new, there is an episode with me and Monica like knitting together and talking like around this time last year. You go like to videos and just scroll until you see me and this other girl like cracking up in the thumbnail. And I was like, wow, I hadn't recorded last week because I was just busy. And I don't think I knitted enough to like have anything to show. So I was like, well, this is fine. I'll just record it another week. And so now I have like things to show, but yeah, I didn't really have time because I went for a run this morning because Monica was coming over. And then she came over like right after I got home from work, so I didn't have time to record then. And then tomorrow I have to go to the basketball game at work after it's over, so I can't run in the afternoon, so I have to run in the morning. I was like, well, let's just like get this done tonight because my life is very busy, apparently. It's just normal. It's always how it is. So here I am. And yeah, I don't have like a ton of stuff, but I have enough stuff that I was like, oh, okay, I can record. This will be fine. So, yeah, where to start? I have been like knitting stuff. My brain has been like all over the place for like the past month. So I've just kind of just like been picking up whatever is like closest, I think, to like work on. And I was thinking today, because I have all these whips and I was like, oh, I need to like have one of those like, you know, periods in my life where I stop casting things on, because I'm like, I don't think I'm addicted to casting things on, but I'm definitely casting on a lot of stuff and I'm like, oh, I can't do that. Because I just have like enough things going on that are on the needles that I'm like, I just need to like clear I think it's one of those things, you can probably tell from the way I'm like, my brain is really scattered, that like it's just taking up mental space. And I'm like, oh, I need to just get it out. And because I'm going to England in like just over a week, I am going to get Fair Isle yarn there for my Rhinebeck sweater. And I really would like to have some clear needles so I can actually cast something on and feel like, oh yeah, I have time to like work on this and mental energy to like give to this. So where am I right now with all this? Okay, so I don't know. I think I'm in one of those phases where I need to like tell myself like, this is your plan for finishing this thing. So yeah. Oh, and what am I wearing? I'm wearing a sweater from Strands of Joy by Anna Johanna. Like, I'm just wearing like a UMBC t-shirt under this, and I'm only wearing the sweater because I was downstairs with Monica making dinner and the kitchen was really cold because I had to open the two windows in the kitchen, because the like smoke detector will like go off if I cook something on the stove, and if I don't open the windows. And so I put this on because it was cold. And so I'm what is this called? I also don't know where that book is. Oh, here it is. Strands of Joy. Strands of Joy 2 is coming out, actually. The Woolly Thistle is gonna have it, and this is how I know about it. This sweater was knitted initially in Spin Cycle. It's called Rose Hip. So it's really, really different when you see it. Like, it's so low contrast here comparatively, which I find it interesting. Like, I think this is an interesting choice because like when I knitted this, the background color is similar. The background color here is Juniper Moon Patagonia, and just like the light gray color, I don't know if it's a number, a color of a name. Juniper Moon Patagonia is a really good yarn though, because it's like, you can kind of knit it at like fingering to DK weight. There's super high yardage because it's wool and spun. So like, I don't even think I broke into a third skein to knit this sweater. And then the color work here is John Arbon Yarnadelic in Le Fleur, which is lovely. Sport weight. I have to, I guess, specify that it's Yarnadelic Sport because now they make Yarnadelic worsted, which is awesome. I typically don't buy John Arbon yarn as yarn anymore. I just buy it as fiber and I spin it myself. But this was real yarn. Here's another photo of it. So I think they used 2 Spin Silica yarns. I think it was Wilder and Dyed in the Wool. I also don't buy Dyed in the Wool anymore because I spin my own yarn. So 2 yarns that I don't are irrelevant to me now. But yeah, the only thing I regret about this is that there aren't more buttons. And in theory, I could change that by either adding snaps between them or, because you can see like there's a big gaping hole there. And that's not even the widest part of my, trunk. So, but I do actually like it. I wear it quite a lot. I just, like, I could wear it unbuttoned, I guess. I could do that. I could display whatever is on this shirt. Somebody gave me the shirt at work today, and it's very comfortable, so I put it on when I got home. It's like the person who gave it to me is the guy who runs the Design Your Own Major, INDS, the Individualized Program of Study at UMBC, which is the university where I work. So, fun fact, you can design your own major at UMBC. You can probably do that at a lot of places, but it's really cool. So they got shirts, and now I have one. So I'm just gonna advertise that so it doesn't. Yeah, I never even tacked the steek down here. I steeked this. Was this initially supposed to just be a pullover? Maybe it was, and I cardiganified it. Not hard to do if you know how to make a steek, but it is a little complicated. I was talking to somebody recently about how, like, it took me several years really of knitting a lot to sort of understand how things are constructed because of the way that my brain works. It doesn't just sort of feel like it needs to understand something right away. It feels like it needs to, like, do something a bunch of times to, it's like the fake it till you make it mentality with certain things. It's like, oh, it's this, like, I'm completely the opposite way with, like, music, like, where my brain just grabs onto it and understands it. But with knitting, it's always been like a process of, like, learning how to make stitches and then, like, making a million bazillion stitches when I was a child. And, like, as an adult, I became kind of like someone who wanted to learn how to read patterns, and I would read the patterns and I would follow the instructions and something would happen and I'd be like, this is a thing, like a sock or a sweater or a mitten. Like, how did that work? I don't know. Like, I didn't really understand how, like, you could just, it's you're building something and you can use increases, decreases, cut stuff, like whatever you want to do to just make what you want, like measure stuff and see how many stitches go into 4 inches to create a sweater, which I know how to do now because I've knitted so many of them, I guess. It's just kind of odd. Anyway, so all that to say, I'm wearing the rose hip sweater by Anna Johanna from Strands of Joy 1. And I'm looking forward to Strands of Joy 2. I may have to get it. Although my bookshelf is really full and, like, I just have so many books, and, like, my to knit list is very long of patterns I already have. So yeah, we'll see. Where am I right now? Where am I at? Well, this is the progress that I have made so far in this Guernsey for my teacher, Mark, my former music teacher who retired. If you've been watching me for a little bit, you've heard about this. Mark asked me to knit him a Guernsey, and I said, absolutely. So yeah, you can kind of see, like, it's pretty dense. You can sort of see the light behind here, but I'm knitting this on a US 2.5. I'm getting about 28 stitches over 4 inches. I am not using a pattern. I am using a variety of books to design this. I haven't actually made my texture pattern, but now that this is, like, probably like 8 to 10 inches long, I need to start thinking about it and actually, like, charting it out and deciding what I want to put on the yoke for texture patterns. And I was thinking of doing that when I was in the UK, when I go to the UK, but I don't know if, like, it's first, because it's so dark, I would need really good light to be able to work on a texture pattern on this. So it might get saved till after Easter. We'll see. Maybe I should just go to the UK and immediately cast on a Fair Isle project. That's something I feel like I can handle. Like, my brain is so Fair Isle, like, focused all the time when I'm knitting that, like, I'm like, oh yeah, complicated thing designed myself, whatever, like, from a pattern book, no problem. Like, on the go, in a freaking pub in London, yeah, whatever. This, like, I don't know, like, vanilla, yes, but, like, when I get to the texture part, I'm like, no, it would be hard to see it build, and, like, for me, Fair Isle is so visual, like, I can see what happened in the last row, and my brain sort of knows after a little bit, like, what the next row has to be, and so I just kind of, like, visually, my brain fills in the gaps really, really easily with Fair Isle, whereas with excuse me, I yarn this dark, it's hard to see. This is knitted in Frangipani 5-ply Guernsey. There's a cone, sorry, there, that dark blue one way over on the side. It's that, so I have another one in this bag. I have 2 cones, and I plan to knit myself a sweater with the leftovers with some hand spun probably. I don't know what color yet, but what color of hand spun at least, but it'll be some kind of fun color work situation. I don't know if it'll be low contrast or high contrast, but this I would like to get done. Yeah, or I would like to just kind of start really powering through it because I want to work on other harder projects, and I'm not at the hard part of this project yet. And the hard part of this project probably won't last very long because it's only like yoke front and back, and then all the sleeves are also just plain stockinette. So like it's going to be like a couple of weeks of a push, because once I get to the hard part of something, I tend to try and power through it if I can, like to avoid the burnout. And like last year in that big cabled sweater, I really worked on like 3 large chunks of the year. So I got really into it, and then I would put it down for a few months, and then I would get really into it for like a few weeks and put it down for a few months. And then finally when I was like, I need to finish this, it was probably like a month that I worked on it, and was like, okay. And I did, I got through it. I had to like track my progress and like make sure I worked on it every day to like, you know, make the streak progress, and it worked really well. I did it. So with Fair Isle, it tends to be the same. Like I'll get into like I'll get done like a third of it, and then I'll put it away, and then I'll do like the next third, and then I'll put it away, and then all of a sudden I'll just be like, I need to finish this. And so with this guy, there's only 1/3 of it that's like, that's takes any mental energy, because the rest of it's stockinette. I might actually do it with steeks for the arm size. Just because, not that I'm like afraid my gauge will change, I just like, it's so much easier to read a chart when you're only reading one side. Like to like translate in your head to go the opposite way with knits and purls, when it's so hard to see it. Like if it were color work, again, I would be like, probably have no trouble with the fact that you were purling color work, which I've just never had the desire to do. I know that I could do it, I just don't want to. Like it's just like one of those things where I'm like, yeah. Going backwards will be so much harder to see where you were and to like look at the pattern. It's so dark. I'm gonna need such a bright light to be working on this. So I think I gotta see where I am in a couple weeks, and maybe if I don't work on it at all, then I'll bring this with me to the UK and just finish the body until the arm side divide, and then I'll stop knitting it. Or I'll work on it only if I'm sort of stagnant somewhere with a really good light, like if the plane has a good light, like on the way home or something, I'll maybe do that. And I'll bring something else that's smaller and like more easy to knit in a, you know, public place or whatever. Like vanilla, something more vanilla. We'll see. That maybe is the answer. Problem is like lugging a cone around. I guess I could just wind off another ball. I did that for the first bit, and then the ball ran out, and instead of just winding another cone, or winding another ball off of the cone, I just grabbed the cone, and now I'm having a hard time because the cone will fall over. Some people like knitting off the cone. I find it annoying. It just falls over all the time, and like I prefer to wind it. Even my Jameson Smith cones up there, you can see, I usually wind those off into small cakes, just because it's like so much more portable. Especially with Fair Isle, you're like, I'm not gonna cart 3 cones around if I'm using all 3 of like the white and the light gray and the dark gray. So, which happens a lot in accessory projects. So yeah. Okay, what's next? Oh, well, I didn't show this last time, really, I don't think. Yeah, because I was doing my Woolly Thistle shopcast, and I was like, let's save it for that. So now the shopcast is out, so you can watch it. If you've never seen the Woolly Thistle shopcast, it's great, and you should watch it. The Woolly Thistle is an amazing yarn store in New Hampshire. That's not an actual store. It's just, I mean, it is a real location, but it's online only. They specialize in importing yarn from the UK, Europe, elsewhere in the world. There's some American yarns, a few Canadian ones, like really woolly wool, and distributing it in the US. And they're wonderful. If you like woolly wool and you've never heard of them, you should check them out. I do have an affiliate link with the Woolly Thistle. So if you click the link in the description box, you will see that. And I can put it up here too. So you can click my affiliate link if you want to check them out if you haven't before, or if you know about them but you watch me, you can use my affiliate link at no cost to you, and I get a cut, which is great. I love working with them. They are gonna release kits for my Natalie cowl soon, which I showed probably like a month ago last. I need to finish it, and the pattern is almost done. We're gonna have kits for it at the Woolly Thistle in like 4 different colorways, and it's gonna be amazing with Jameson and Smith yarn. But yeah, sorry, I don't usually record at night, and my brain is really scattered at nighttime, which is why I'm kind of all over the place. I don't have any notes. I just kind of am like, whoa, I gotta record because it's been a couple weeks, and I'll probably try to record next week. And then I'll try to like at least record something when I'm in the UK, and then I can upload it when I get back, or record it, upload it there, whatever. I don't know. I'm planning to go to a lot of yarn stores then in London, so maybe I'll put pictures there. Thank you to all the people who asked to see like footage of my life. That was really sweet. I don't know if it's like appropriate to film things like choir practice, just because I feel like I would have to ask a lot of people permission. But yeah, maybe like other things, like running. I'll film Mitten talking about how much he hates running up hills on a Saturday morning sometime. Yeah, okay, so this is what I've just got sidetracked. This is the big sweater, the marled sweater that I'm making. So I decided to make a Cozy Classic raglan, which is just like a vanilla sweater pattern, with magic balls. So before I show you the sweater, I'll show you what a magic ball is. This is a magic ball. It's just like a bunch of yarns that I have like little scraps of, and you use this thing called a magic knot to tie them together, which is when you tie the yarn together in 2 places, and then you pull the strings apart, and the 2 little knots slide together, and it becomes pretty secure. Like I knitted the sea glass tee, which was really popular pattern a few years ago. There's also a sea glass sweater in DK, where you change colors like with a magic ball, like every round, both colors. There's a lot of magic knots in there. I've never had one come loose. You can use a little fabric glue, but then it makes it stiff. But regardless, I make magic balls with like little tiny bits and bobs of leftovers, like up to like 5 grams of basically fingering weight or sock. Usually it's leftover sock yarn. All of it's sock weight at least, or maybe like a lighter sport weight. But yeah, so these are just like, you can see there's a lot of colors in there, and those are just like little bits and bobs of random balls of yarn. So I decided to make a sweater with my magic balls holding them with white. And so far now it looks like this, which is really fun. And I'm making this for my friend who I'm staying with in England. She's she's like my English host mom, Catherine. And I made her a pair of marled socks a few years ago for Christmas that she really loves. And she like said something to me about them recently. And I was like, do you want a sweater that goes with them? And she was like, yes, I love crazy. I was like, it's gonna be crazy. She's like, I love crazy. So I actually got through so much of this yesterday. I was working on it kind of intermittently, just as a vanilla project for a couple of weeks. But then yesterday, well, Monica drove to church, and so I was like here, and I finished the entire like rest of the body, did the huge, this is like a pretty nice like 2.5 inch ribbed band, and started the sleeve while I was in the car, and then knitted. I was talking to my mom. I was watching Call the Midwife, which is like my favorite show. I watch it when I need to like be distracted from stuff because it's so sad. It makes me forget about my own misery. It's on Netflix if you've never seen Call the Midwife, but it is sad. So take this with a grain of salt. And you can really tell how on the sleeves, like this stripe is really thick because like on the sleeve, there's just like less, there's fewer stitches in the round. And so there's like less room so that if there's more yarn. So I try to change. If I see a stripe would just be like way too thick, I'll try to change it. But I love this kind of like sorbet color. I have a pair of socks in this. This was a sock yarn from the Sock Squad from the Farmer's Daughter Fibers. And anyway, it's just fun. Like this here was like some self-striping yarn up here. And then like, I can almost always tell, I can remember where a yarn is from, like whether I dyed it or where I got it and like what the base is. And it's really fun just like taking a trip down memory lane and being like, oh, remember those socks? Like these ones, like, oh my gosh, it's really fun. So I will probably have this done within the week, which is good because I got to block it for Catherine so I can bring it to the UK, so tomorrow's Tuesday. So I'll be leaving a week from Friday. So I'm leaving on March 15th. I'll be there for a week, which is fun. And yeah, I'm excited to have this done. I haven't like finished a big project in a while. I've been incredibly busy with so much stuff. Just like constantly. And my brain has been very occupied with things, and so sometimes my brain is really occupied. It needs to do something that's not knitting, because that's like not enough to occupy, like to like, I don't know, like I need to do other things, like I need to write stuff, or like I need to read, like I need to somehow like get my brain into a completely different place. And knitting used to do that for me, which is interesting. I was saying this to somebody recently, like knitting used to do that for me, but it doesn't anymore, because my brain does, I don't use as much of my brain to think about it. Like it's so like second nature to do it. It's more like of a stimulus than anything, that I just like do it to move my hands, and I love to create things. And so when I'm creating a new pattern, and like lace sometimes still does it for me, big really complicated cable charts would do it for me, but they would just frustrate me. Like it doesn't sort of, you know, like relax the tensions in my brain like it used to. Color work always used to do that, but now color work, like I just said, it's so, wow, I've been talking for 20 minutes, almost 21. That's insane. Sometimes time just goes, man. Yeah, wow, it's almost 9 o'clock. Okay. I always say it's gonna be a short one. This is gonna have to be a short one because I gotta go to bed. But like, anyway, yeah, I'm excited to just like finish some stuff up and like feel like I've kind of made some stuff and made some progress on this year, because that's kind of why I knit often, is like to make something and to have something to show for like all of this time that I've put into something. I think that's why a lot of us knit. I also knit to keep people warm. That's pretty much full stop why I knit. Myself included, obviously. I keep a lot of sweaters, but I've probably given more sweaters away than I've kept. But like you know, I have a huge wardrobe of sweaters, and I constantly make myself more sweaters, so like whatever. But like I knit to keep people warm. That's full stop. Anyway, so, and because it's fun. And I like creating things. So now these magic balls are kind of everywhere. Yeah, okay, so those are the two like bigger projects that I'm working on, the two sweaters, and right now they're both in vanilla stages, which is fine. I don't know if my brain could actually do anything other than vanilla like right this second, because there's just like I'm kind of just trying to like decompress after like a lot. So vanilla is probably good right now. So speaking of vanilla, I opened a sock like, you know, my socks that I get to open one on the 1st of every month that my friends wrapped up for me. And I opened one because it's now March, and I recorded myself opening it on Friday so that I could put it here. So I'm gonna put the video of me opening it right here, and then I'll come back and show you the progress that I've made. Oh my gosh, it's been a little bit of a journey. So enjoy me opening some socks. Happy March 1st. I figured I would get up and record this at like, it's 6:53 a.m. because I remember that it was March 1st, and I get to open this skein of sock yarn today, and I wanted to do it on camera, as I like to do, because I like to live react. I think it's fun. It's like an interactive thing. So I have my coffee and my tiny desk knitting mug. I look insane because I just got it. I don't look insane, actually. It's not too bad. I just got out of bed and I made this, and I was like, okay, time to record. I don't have time to get ready. Who cares? So I literally just finished my February socks yesterday. January, I got through them in like, I don't know, 13 days. I think I was done with the socks by the time I got back from San Francisco, which was like, I don't know, the 16th of January or something. So, oh, Emma, do not talk so fast. It is so early in the morning. Okay. I finished them really quickly, but to be fair, they were shorties. There's one right here. They were short. They were little. And I went on a trip, and this was like one of the only projects I had with me. So, you know, you tend to finish the project you bring with you on a trip if it's like the only thing. And also I just felt like the lace pattern really flew. This one, I've showed you guys this before. Anyway, I finished them yesterday. I literally had to power through the entire last sock in like the last 4 days to finish them. I was so determined. And this is the second one, and the pooling on this one is so funny. Like you can see on this side of the heel there's no red, and on this side of the heel it's like red. And then there's also a huge stripe of pink, like without any pooling at all right here, which like there was pink, it's just like all on the foot of the gusset. It's kind of funny. The micro stripes are fun. This one was a little more even, I think. Well, maybe not. There was some pooling here too. Like there's a big pool on the heel here too. But yeah, speckled yarn and microstriped things, like oftentimes they pool pretty randomly and you can't really tell. Like I've had speckled yarn from dyers before where like the first sock was super speckly and the second one like hardly had any speckles on it because of just like where the speckles get placed. I don't know how that, I mean, I know how it works. It's pretty random and it's hard to control. But like, yeah, it depends on like how open the skein is probably in the bath and like how much is it like all kind of opened up so the speckles fall evenly. It doesn't really matter. It's really hard to be exact. It's impossible to be exact about these things. Anyway, let's open the March skein. So this is the March one. Oh, it came open a little bit, so I just saw it, but that's okay. That's good. This is it. Ready? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Interesting choice, friends. Oh, maybe Monica chose this because it's purple and March is during Lent. So this is, actually it's 250 gram skeins. This is yak sock yarn that I dyed myself in 2021, I think, because I remember getting the Farmer's Daughter Sock Squad. So if you want to do something like this, but you don't want to dye your own yarn or like use your own yarn or whatever, you can purchase like clubs that will send you yarn every month. And so the one that I did in 2021, it was 2021, I got the Farmer's Daughters Fibers Sock Squad because I was knitting a lot of socks and I just wanted, it was like COVID and I was being a nanny and I was like, I need something to do that like makes me happy. So I like, you know, every month I'll get, being a nanny actually made me really happy. I really liked that job. Yeah, I'm sure anyone who's worked with kids before has found it frustrating, but I actually really liked it. For like a year, I think I would have probably gotten like, my brain just would have exploded if it hadn't been able to like solve problems in different ways, like it does now. But anyway, that being said, I was introduced to the yak sock base that year because Farmer's Daughter Sock Squad was rotating between the 75-25 sock base, which is just like a regular 4-ply. It's a high yardage sock base. The 80-20 sock base, which is a lower yardage sock base with only 2 plies. And then the yak sock, which I'd never used before, and I loved it. So I bought some that summer to dye myself, and I did. I got like 10 skeins, or it would have been 5 skeins because it was a 10 pack, but it was 50 gram skeins. So I dyed 2 of each color. And the yak sock base is like a light brown. That's just kind of the natural color. So I did a really, really dark blue, and I did this kind of like greenish, like swampy green. Those 2 I made into socks and gave them to people. And then I did a brown, which I thought I was gonna make socks from, but I ended up using it as heels and toes for a bunch of things. And so I have like I have 150 gram skein of it left, but I'm probably just gonna keep using it for heels and toes. And I did like this purple, and I did a super deep like cayenne red, which is not in the thing because I saw it when I was putting away yarns. I was trying to like, I wasn't trying to like figure out what was missing and like think about what must have been in there, but I did notice a few things and think, oh, I'm surprised they didn't pick that. But I couldn't remember what was gone. Like my recognition memory was not there for what was, or whatever. It's too early to think about this. But anyway, I'm gonna cast on socks with this. And they're gonna be super soft. I don't know what kind, maybe texture. I did 2 lace. So I was gonna say drop your ideas in the comments, but by the time you see this, it will be Tuesday and I will have like knitted half of the first sock already. So tough luck. Tough luck for me because I ask these things and I'm like, oh no, this isn't real time. That's not gonna work. So that's fun. Yeah. But anyway, I'm gonna stop now. I'm just ranting and it's not even 7 in the morning. Or maybe it's 7. Nope, it's still 6:59. Okay, so yeah, back to me. So exciting. It's kind of a mauve. This is the second skein that I didn't wind because the yak yarn I got in 50 gram skeins because I didn't want 10 skeins. I mean, I did want 10 skeins of yak sock yarn, but like if I dyed it in sets of 2, I would have 5 sock quantities, and I didn't really want more than 5 sock quantities at the time. I was like, I don't need more than this. Now I'm like, why did I get 10? And I'm like, you don't need 10, girl. You have so much sock yarn. So this is the kind of movie. Again, the light's different now, so because I recorded that like the opposite. It was like 7 in the morning. I literally had just rolled out of bed, put a sweatshirt on, and was like, it's March 1st, I have an open yarn. So at first I thought I would do like a little texture pattern, and I found a really cute little texture pattern in, well, I think it was just in one of the Barbara Walker Stitch dictionaries. Sorry, someone's using engine brakes outside, if you can hear that squeaking. Ugh. But I did a repeat of it, and it was like a little bit too involved for such a small canvas. And this is also not like a super light color of yarn. So because of that as well, I just thought, this isn't gonna be like, this is gonna be way too high, like work, low payoff. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like not really worth my investment of that much time. And I thought, and then I realized something else. When I opened the package, something else had fallen out of it that I hadn't seen when I opened it, which I wonder if you can see in the video of like it falling out. There was a ball of leftover mohair in there. So this I found, and I was like, there's no way that I just put this here. This had to have fallen out of the package. And then I asked Monica, and she was like, oh yeah, I don't know how I felt about that, but like, I figured you'd do something fun and creative with it. And she's like, Sarah was gunning for it. So it was in there, and I was like, great. Well, I trust Sarah's judgment. She knows that I need a little bit of creative challenge. She's a creative person. So Sarah's another one of my knitting friends, fiber friends. She does like so much fiber stuff. A great fiber friend. I haven't seen her in a while. So I'm sure, I don't think she watches this, but Sarah, if you're watching, we should hang out. I miss you. But this is a like light pink mohair. I knitted my aunt a cumulus blouse in this. I made 4 skeins of it. I held a double. It was a v-neck, kind of like very loosey, like cumulus blouse. Really nice, but there was a bunch left over, and this is one of the skeins. I didn't weigh this. I probably should have. I will weigh it for the second sock. There's no way I'm going to use all of it. So I decided, I was like, what should I do? What should I do? I decided to make some little racing stripes on just like vanilla socks. I thought that would be cute. And again, like I said, my brain really just needs to like knit right now. It doesn't need anything super complicated. So I just like, I ripped back to the cuff because I'd already done a 15 round cuff, which was perfect. 1 by 1 rib. I'm just gonna, what if I hold it in front of, no, that doesn't work. If I hold it in front of the light, this will work. So I'll just cover the light a little bit. So yeah, I just did like 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. So each of these little stripes in between is 5. And I just held the mohair for these stripes with the sock yarn. So that was, it takes up like the top half of the crew sock. And then I'm just doing 30. So 30, it's 30 total rounds because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. And then because there's 5 right after the cuff. And then I'm gonna do another 30, maybe 35, depending on if I think it's long enough after 30. I'm almost there, like 8 more rows. And then I'm gonna hold the mohair double again for the heel flap and turn, not for the gusset, just for the heel flap and turn. Drop it for the gusset and the rest of the foot, and then again pick it up for the toe. So I'm gonna have these just little mohair marled moments in this sock, and I love it. I think it's cute. I think it's attractive. It's an attractive like look, and I think it's gonna be effective. And I think it's like a lot of us have little bits and bobs of mohair, and we should use them for something like this. So like, I mean, I have this just sitting right here. Coincidentally, there's not a whole lot of bits and bobs of mohair in here, but there's enough that like, I'm like, I don't know what, there's not enough to make anything substantial. So like, what if you put racing stripes in a sock? Like, that sounds like a great way to use it. So I am doing that. I am putting little racing stripes in a sock and just, again, trying to find creative little ways to use bits and bobs in my stash. And I love when I find something where I'm like, oh my gosh, that's such a good idea. I will write this pattern. It's very simple. So like, I'm serious, like, just copy me. Like, if you want to, I'm telling you, just hold the mohair double anytime you want in a sock. Make a little fun moment. I'm really excited for these. I think they're going to be super cozy. I don't know what literary character they're going to be based on. I asked Monica, I was like, what's your favorite book? And she's like, I don't read. I haven't read since middle school. I play the organ. I practice all the time. She's that kind of person. So she was like, I don't know. I used to read like fantasy stuff, but she didn't have any characters that she had in mind. So she's talking about how she's like, maybe I should get an Audible subscription. She drives a lot too, because we do the church thing in DC together. That's her full-time job. It's just my like side hustle. But she drives to DC like 4 to 6 times a week. So yeah, it's a long drive. So if I were her, I'd listen to a lot of audiobooks, but she listens to the radio and talks to her mom usually in the car, I think, which is cool. Anyway, so I like this. I think it's fun. So I don't know what character it's going to be. I did design Lydia Bennett socks, but they're kind of complicated, and it was like the only toe-up pattern I did because the lace pattern that I made on it was like, it needed to be toe-up because I couldn't figure out how to do it. It would have looked weird if I had done it from the top down. It wouldn't have looked the way that I wanted it to look. So I may scrap that one. I made 2 samples, but I would have to completely rewrite a sock pattern to do it toe up, and I just don't know if I want to do that. It's a whole thing. Anyway, we'll see. Maybe I'll publish that one too, but I kind of like the idea that Lydia Bennett would like totally be like, let me do this little trendy thing that's cute, but it's really low effort, but it's a high payoff. That's the Lydia Bennett low cost, high reward kind of thing. It's like, you know, I'm a musician, so it's like singing Mendelssohn or Schubert. Low cost, high reward. Everybody likes it. It's real easy. But I like this a lot. I like the way it marls, and it's like, it's not super aggressive. You could make it aggressive if you were knitting like a white sock with like these lime green stripes or something, which I might do for Lydia Bennett because it's Lydia Bennett. Need some lime green mohair in that case. I think I can probably dye some lime green mohair if I get Jacquard dyes. Jacquard has really, really bright dyes. Like they have like neon colors. And I love neon yarns. And I think that I should get some neon dyes so that I can make my neon dreams come true. Whatever my neon little heart desires. Okay, so those socks are great. I knitted the cuff on Friday, and I knitted a bit of the leg, but then I knitted all of the rest of that just today. Like, I had some, you know, while I was taking a little breather during lunchtime at work, I knitted, it was like, bam, 20 rows were done, and I was like, wow, vanilla knitting is just so fast. And Monica and I were just hanging out for a couple of hours after dinner, and I knitted on it. Oh, I gotta put the mohair back. Yeah, so just like nice and kind of like refreshing. So yeah, otherwise I've got this bag because I'm like, oh, I gotta get through a lot of whips. Like, what other whips do I want to finish? So these I'm not married to finishing, although I'd really like to knit. I showed this before. I knitted one of these. I knitted this in 2019. This is just a mitten that I never finished. The thumb's not even done. But I keep telling myself, yeah, I want to knit the other one. And it's started, but I need to get a new needle. So I guess if I have time tomorrow between me finishing work and having to go back to work to watch this basketball game, I could go to the yarn store in Catonsville and get a needle. That's a good idea. I should do that. Actually goes well with my kind of vibes with my sweater. It's different, but I think this is a St. Nicholas snowflake because it has the curls, or like maybe you call it a goat's horn rose. I don't know. People call things different things, but this is just single ply merino. Gosh, Monica and I dyed a lot of this, but Monica and I used to make mittens, and I love this little cuff with the flowers on it. Look at that. I showed this a few weeks ago, so I don't want to discuss this in detail, but it's from the book Mittens from Around Norway, which I think is not published anymore. So if you want a copy, it's like $1 million on Amazon, and I'm glad that I got one in like 2018 when they were $20 because they were being published. But yeah, it's just a bare, I think it's Preciosa merino from Knit Picks, and this is just bare superwash merino single ply, like what I would use to knit like a Love Note sweater double stranded with mohair, but this isn't double stranded, it's just one, and I do it in color work. The mittens actually hold up. I've had a pair I knitted on like size 0 needles back in 2018 that I can see in that bag over there, but I don't want to go get it, and like it's the bottom of that accessory bag. But they do hold up. They pale a little bit, but they actually, because the gauge is so tight, they are really warm, and they don't tend to like stretch out because it's color work, so it can't. There's also a pair of white mittens in there in the wool cashmere blend that my friend Simona brought me back from Quebec. It is hyper local yarn. Simona is one of my knitting friends at church, and she is so interesting. This is why I was thinking, I think that she was the person I had the discussion with about like when I first started knitting other stuff, it was hard for me to understand how to modify patterns or like why something was happening. I was like, oh, look, I made a sock. And that's like what Simona's doing right now. She's like knitted for her whole life, many things, and is like now knitting from patterns and is like, oh my gosh, it's a sock. And I'm like, yeah, I remember that. It's like an amazing feeling. And like everything she knits is really beautiful. And she always seems kind of surprised. And I'm like, because you've knitted like a million stitches. You're a great knitter. Your tension is amazing because you know your body knows what to do. You're just making stitches just like you've always done. It's just that you're following a pattern. So now it looks like something that's not just like a blanket or a, you know, whatever, some piece that you're knitting. So I love that. I love like being able to be like, you know, the journey is you're just beginning here. So it's so wonderful. Oh, I forgot to turn this on Do Not Disturb, and now Monica's texting me. Sorry, Monica. She doesn't watch this. She's like, I'm like, I talked about you, and she's like, cool. Sometimes she'll watch like 5 minutes and be like, I turned it off. I see you all the time. We talk about this anyway. It's like, it's not really a good use of her time because I'm gonna tell her all the same stuff every time I see her. Oh, you know what I did? Okay, I decided I was gonna buy a sweater quantity of this like beautiful, I think I talked about this last time, maybe, this like green color of yarn, and I was really excited about it. And they had it was the Baby Packa from the Wandering Flock, and this like neon Kelly, I think it was the color. I talked about it last time, so go watch that episode if you want to hear more about it. But I went to Loopton, DC to see if they had it, and they had it, but they didn't have it in the base I wanted. They had it in like the Merino Superwash DK base, and I was like, I don't want this. I don't do Merino DK. I do not mess with Merino DK. We don't get along. The gauge is never right. If I get a needle small enough to get the gauge where it doesn't grow a ton in the wash, it hurts my hands and it comes out too small because I just don't understand gauge with Merino DK. Something about Merino DK and I don't get along yet. One day I will conquer her. It's not time. So I was like, I'm not getting this in Merino DK. I want the sport weight alpaca nylon wool. It's like super soft. They didn't have that. So, but because I was there and I was like, I want to buy some yarn because I haven't done that in a while. I want to support this yarn shop. I try once in a while to actually buy yarn. This is what I got. And actually this was hilarious because Monica and I have been talking about this forever, and she thought when I got back to church, because I went in between church and Evensong, she thought I had gotten it for her, and she got so excited. I was like, it's for me. And she's like, it's not for me. And anyway, she like freaked out. I did offer to go get her some last Sunday, and she was like, no, I have enough yarn. But this is what I got. You can't totally see how beautiful this color is, but it is Helix by Le Bien-Aimé. So it's like between a sock and a lace weight yarn. You can see how kind of thin it is here. There's 600 and 700 and something yards, 710 yards. So it's not, it's like a heavy lace weight, I guess. I haven't decided if I'm gonna double strand this with mohair. I think I could dye something comparably similar. Like I could get the Le Bien-Aimé mohair. This is Blue Royale. This is the color. But it would cost me like $200 to get mohair to go with this, because it's so expensive. So I'm like, I have mohair, I could just do it myself, but like, I don't know if I can get a color that would be this deep, and I don't want to dull this incredible color. Again, hard to tell how amazingly rich it is without it being in the sunlight or you being able to see it. But it's so tonal and it's so stunning. So I'd like to make a sweater. I have 2 skeins, so that's like 1,400 yards, which is a lot. Monica actually had a couple of patterns that she showed me when she was just here, because she was like, these might be good. And she's like, I looked in my library, so they're in books somewhere that I have in my house. And I was like, great, okay, so I'll think about that. But I think having like the one that I really liked was like, there was like a little lace detail here and little lace details, like, I can't remember how it was constructed. I just saw a photo of it, but like around the collar or like the sleeves, there was like a little bit of lace there. And I was like, I like the idea of lace because, and that would be special for this really special yarn, like to put a lot of time into it. And it's going to be so lovely to work with. But I was like, if it's dark color and it's all over lace, you have to wear like white underneath or black, and then you won't be able to see the lace, and it would be like slightly awkward. So I was like, I think I want it to be like a sweater or a shawl or something. So I don't know, but I got this. And then the only thing else I have to say is that, oh my gosh, spinning. Again, it's one of those things where I was just like, the last like couple of months have just been crazy. Like the whole beginning of this year was just like wild thing after wild thing just happened, and then like just too much going on in my life with like everything on top of the normal like church music insanity. And again, I feel like I have a kind of a couple of weeks right now to kind of breathe before I go on my trip. Coming down from like all the stuff that happened in January and February, it was just like wild. I was anxious. It's a whole lot of stuff about a variety of things, but like now that I'm kind of like through it, like I have like 2 weeks to breathe, and then I'm gonna go to England, and then I'm gonna come back, and it's Palm Sunday and Holy Week, and my like whole extended family is coming to visit, and so then I'll have, once April hits, like March is just gonna be wild. At least the like last half of March. The back half of March is gonna be so insane. So once that's done, that'll be nice. But April, I can kind of, it'll be beautiful out. I'm training for a half marathon, but it's just a half marathon. Like, so I don't want to say just a half marathon, but I don't have to go out for 5 hours every Saturday and run. I have to go out for 2 hours every Saturday and run. So, and I am trying to break a time. So like I have to be pretty strict with myself about like interval training and things. Like that's why I was like, I can't record on Tuesday morning, because I can't run after work unless I bring my running shoes to work, but then I'll smell at the basketball game, and I'm like, nah. So, and it's gonna rain tomorrow, and I was like, nah. So I'll run in the morning, but I have to do like a big interval session tomorrow morning. So I can't skip that if I want to. I will be able to run 13.1 miles. I ran on Saturday. It was pouring, and it was so sad because I was like, oh my gosh, on Sunday it's gonna be like 65 degrees. If you're in Celsius, that's like 17 degrees, gorgeous, and like sunny but not too sunny, and just like the perfect running weather. Although when your body is used to colder temps, but like it's been kind of warm all week, so my body would have been fine. It would have really enjoyed running 11.28, I think is what I did, because I accidentally took a detour on my 10-mile run. Went the wrong way by accident for a little while. I ran 11 point something miles on Saturday morning in the pouring rain, and it wasn't that cold. It was like 45 degrees probably, but it was just pouring the whole time. Like at some point I just started running through puddles and like was like, whatever, like the water will splash me up to my knees, and I'm so soaking wet that I don't care. So I'm really hoping that my shoes, I have several pairs of running shoes, but I'm really hoping that those shoes, my distance shoes, because they're bigger than my other shoes. I need to start buying all my shoes in a whole size bigger rather than a half size bigger. But because if I wear more than like 10K in my size 8s, my toes really hurt because my feet swell. So I have a pair of 8.5s that I wear for anything over a 10K, and I have about 10K of interval training to do. So I could wear, I don't think my feet would hurt if I did a speed session on the track in my size 8s, but my orange shoes, which I love, but if my blue shoes are dry, I think I would prefer to wear those. It doesn't matter. Anyway, it's just me being talking about something that's irrelevant to knitting. As usual, I do that all the time. So yeah, I haven't had a lot of time to spin, is what I was trying to say like 5 minutes ago. So I was like, all right, Emma, you've got 2 weeks. Let's do 15 a.m., 15 p.m. like Andrea Mowry's doing on her Instagram. Just until you get this thing done, you're going to do the 15 a.m., 15 p.m. spinning challenge. So I have this much left of the last 4-ounce braid for my Traveler Shawl spin. This is a Hello Yarn colorway from October. I stopped getting Hello Yarn because I was just like, I can't spin fast enough to get through one of these a month. Much as I would love to, I have so much other fiber. Maybe one day I'll do it again if I like spin down my fiber stash, but I feel like there is no chance in hell of that happening. So, I mean, it's not like I buy fiber all the time, but I do buy fiber, and I bought more fiber. Oh, I need to get new drive bands for Thelma, my matchless. I have like tried to use, this is not Thelma, that's Monica's Wheel Gertrude, but Thelma's 35 pounds, so the fact that I'm lifting that up with one arm that's heavy. Yeah, the drive band got frayed. I just buy them from Shacked. I bought 6 of them this time, and it was like $15 for 6, and I was like, cool. This is gonna last me 3 years, so cool, fine. I can spend $16 every 3 years on drive bands. That's not a problem. I have this like thicker cotton twine that I thought would work because I use it for my e-spinner for the brake band. but that does not work on Thelma. It just flies off. And that's what happened with the last drive band, and it just eventually kept flying off. Then I realized it was quite frayed, so I cut it, tried to use 2 other things. They both also kept flying off. So I'm really hoping the Shack drive bands don't, because I don't think anything else is wrong with Thelma. I'm like a little worried that there is, and she's like a very like, I don't know how to fix her, and she's so expensive. And I'm like, but yeah, sometimes things happen with my wheels and I don't know what's wrong. And like Thelma had a problem for a while, and I don't know, something was up with the drive band, and I just like let it sit for like 6 months, and then it was fine. So I guess that's just what happens with my wheels. I let them sit for 6 months and I assume they're going to be fine, and then something happens and they're fine. But eventually that won't happen. So I probably need someone who like understands spinning wheels to like be in my life somehow. To like, I need to find someone so that I can take my wheels to them to get repaired. But who knows how to repair a friggin' spinning wheel? I don't know. But anyway, I'm doing a 15 a.m., 15 p.m. challenge until this is done. So this will probably only take a few more days. And then I can ply it. This is for my Traveler shawl spin. So Andrea Mowry has decided to do like a spin it to knit it knit along for all of the things in the Traveler series. So the cowl, the shawl, the like hoodie / crew neck, and the shell. And I was like, well, I already did a spin it to knit it of the cowl. Like I basically already knitted a cowl in my hand spun. So there's one. Already was spinning, and I'm almost done spinning for the shawl, and have plans to spin for the hoodie. Exhibit A. This is 8 ounces of Targhee. I have 24 total ounces of Targhee that I'm gonna dye this color, but this is the only one I've dyed so far. It's just gonna be like a very tonal blue, baby blue hoodie. And I was like, well, I don't really have any desire to knit the shell because I don't think I would wear it. But Maggie was like, oh, I was gonna knit the shell, and I was like, what if I spun? And of course I'm like, I have so much stuff to spin, but I'm like, I got a year, whatever. You can knit like some other stuff, and then I'll whatever spin you some like Livonia or whatever you want for this. I don't know. So maybe we'll do all 4. She'll just have to knit one of them because I have no desire to own the Traveler shell. Maybe I'll change my mind. It's kind of cute. It's just like not really my vibe in terms of something I would wear. Like the hoodie, I was like, I would wear that like for traveling on a plane. You like cozy up in your like big ol' beautiful blue Targhee squishy hand spun hoodie. I'm like, that's like my dream. So anyway, the Traveler shawl is next though, and I'm gonna, in theory, I could bring that to England if I allow myself to cast something on and I'm done plying the yarn and I wash it, which definitely could happen in the next, I have like 10 days still. Oh my gosh, it could more than happen, but probably I shouldn't necessarily go for that because I have other things to do. But anyway, that's my spinning news. I'm actually getting through this, and I got to do my PM spinning, and it's now almost 9:30. So clearly this has been long enough. It has not been a short one. And recording at night went fine. After I like talked to myself for like 10 minutes into like being normal, I guess it was fine. So yeah, I got not too much coming up this week, which is good. But enough to keep me busy and have a fun time. So hopefully I'll have a nice balance this week of like knitting, spending time, and seeing friends and stuff and doing normal stuff. So, and church music, obviously. So thank you for watching. This has been Tiny Desk Knitting with Emma. Bye!